Today, I'm in Hong Kong. It's the middle of the night and I'm hungry. But that's actually great because Hong Kong has a vibrant nighttime food scene. So let's dig in. Hello, y'all. I'm Miss World, also known as Casey, and my goal is to show you how to travel around the world in style and on a budget. When it comes to eating in Hong Kong, staying on budget is pretty easy. Hong Kong is the home of the cheapest Michelin star restaurant in the world, and here, the food adventures are 24/7. The first place I went to eat in Hong Kong was Sun Foon Key. This is a super traditional restaurant that's open 24/7 and the food is amazing. I didn't try a lot of different stuff, but I know the food is great because I was here right around 2 a.m. and it was totally packed. I had to wait a few moments for a couple to leave a table, and right after I slipped in, another solo eater sat down at the table with me. That's something you'll get used to quickly if you go out to eat in Hong Kong. When you go into a restaurant, you just have to find a chair where there's a chair. It doesn't matter if someone is at the table. It doesn't matter if you've got a table and you're already there. It's part of the culture that everyone sits with everyone because people need to get their eat on. So when you're in Hong Kong, you just get in where you fit in. As a solo traveler, I actually appreciate this. I didn't eat alone when I was in Hong Kong, and actually, that's nice. And Sun Fung Key was definitely a nice experience. The host didn't speak English, but we communicated easily enough, and he even brought me over an extra bowl of soup because he clearly thought I should eat more food than the bowl of rice I ordered, which definitely get the rice here. Sun Fung Key is known for having traditional clay pot rice, which is a specialty in Hong Kong. My understanding is that the rice is cooked in a clay pot, which is a very traditional preparation method. So I got myself a nice heaping bowl and I decided to wash it down with a big glass of milk tea. Milk tea is another specialty of Hong Kong, and as soon as I tasted it, I could tell why. You can trust me on this. I come from a tea drinking culture because I am from the American South, and here we specialize in iced tea. So when I got a frothy glass of iced tea and milk, I was totally ready to be all judgmental. But you got me, Hong Kong. The milk tea has definitely earned its reputation. So while I was sitting there across from a young man who was clearly extremely drunk, the host and waiter who took my order brought me out a bowl of some kind of broth with some kind of meat in it. I don't know what it was, and I actually do not eat meat. I don't eat a lot of things, so I couldn't really dive in and enjoy this, but I did taste the broth, and whatever it was definitely delicious. Long story short, I can fully recommend Sun Foon Key. You can find this across the bay from the commerce area of Hong Kong, the part of the island where you can find most of the big markets and the big malls and the Avenue of Stars, which is an attraction we looked at earlier in the night. You can see that in my most recent video. It's not a super lively area of the city, but this restaurant was absolutely hopping, so you won't eat alone here. I recommend, however, that you don't walk to it in the middle of the night because the surrounding area is just a bit desolate. If you are looking to eat in the middle of the night in Hong Kong and you want to be in a much livelier part of the city, no problem. I absolutely can't leave the city without going to Sun Hing. I recommend that you don't either. Sun Hing is one of the most famous restaurants in the city, and the reputation is well earned. Sun Hing opens at 3 a.m. and I literally rode into the restaurant at 3 on the dot. I was the first person in the door, but by 3:15, the entire restaurant was pretty much packed. A young couple came in and sat at my table, and I sat and feasted at 3 a.m. like an empress. It's actually super amazing, and you absolutely want to try to visit this place if you can. So let's talk about Sun Hing because this is a Hong Kong institution, and I was here for a while eating. This is definitely a big part of Hong Kong nightlife, and I was happy I had the chance to be here. Also, spoiler alert, this is some of the best food I have ever eaten. I could hardly believe it. So here's the deal with Sun Hing. First, don't expect anyone to even try to speak English with you. I don't know if they can't or can, but I know that this is a super traditional place and the staff only interacted with me in Cantonese. However, the other customers around me were speaking English. Lots of people do speak English in Hong Kong, just none of the vendors I interacted with. I don't know if that's because I'm an American or what, but it didn't matter anyway. You don't need to speak English because there's a menu on the wall, and the man who was at the front of the restaurant dealing with the cash register, he came right over and personally handed me a menu as well. Things are a little confusing here. Some of that is about the language, but it's really because the eating culture here is so different than in America and in Europe, at least based on what I have seen of Europe. Stay tuned to the channel and we'll travel more and find out more. But in Hong Kong, things are not really the way you expect them to be. I was basically confused the whole time. So to start out, I was given my own little pot of tea, which was nice because I was sitting right in the open doorway and it was just a little chilly. In fact, it was so chilly that my tea went completely cold before I left. So the chefs are like working overtime in the back of the restaurant. And as they finished making things, they started bringing these little wooden bowls out over to a warming area near the front of the restaurant. These little bowls are different types of dim sum. Hong Kong is famous for dim sum, which I found out is dumplings. These are little dough pockets filled with stuff. That stuff could be like beef, chicken, vegetables, seafood, whatever, depending on the type of dim sum you want. Sung Hing is famous for its shrimp dim sum, and I love seafood, so that's what I ordered. And as for utensils, they brought me chopsticks and one of those large spoons you find in Asian cuisine, like the big ones. I don't know how to eat with chopsticks. I also didn't really try to eat with the chopsticks because the way they're properly used by Asian people, I can't really use them that way. In Asian culture, you sort of use the chopsticks to scoop large bites of food in your mouth. You lean down into your food and you kind of slurp it and scoop it in. I just can't do that, y'all. So I mostly just use the big spoon to like cut up my dim sum and eat it that way. I believe this behavior greatly annoyed the man at the cash register who took my order and brought me my menu, because he actually came up to me a couple of times and demonstrated how to use the chopsticks. Now, as a traveler, I highly, highly recommend immersing yourself in local culture. You should definitely try local food, and you should try to eat it the way locals eat it whenever you can. Make an effort and do your best. And if you can't scoop huge pieces of food in your mouth with chopsticks, then you can't. I definitely advocate for participating in local culture, but we all have our limits. But however you eat this food, this is amazing food. I could hardly believe what I was putting in my mouth. It was so good. It's kind of an anomaly because dim sum does not look pretty. Seriously, it doesn't. It's really unappetizing and the presentation is very plain. But once you taste it, you can forget about it. It was delicious, okay? I also tried an egg tart while I was here. This is a dessert dish in Hong Kong, and all my research told me I had to try the egg tart. So they bring this thing out to me, and I was like, It was big dough balls, just like the dim sum. So this is definitely not a tart by Western standards. I'm a baker in my spare time, a little hobby of mine, and trust and believe, I know how to make a tart, okay? I actually make amazing tarts, and here they're basically like little pies. That is not what a tart is in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, it's this big doughy ball that does not look good and does not look like dessert. But when I tasted it, I almost fell out of my chair. Literally. This thing was so good, I thought I had just been sent to a whole new dimension. So I don't care how ugly it is. Get yourself an egg tart when you are in Hong Kong. It's sweeter than you expect. The texture is different than you can expect, and you can trust me on this. I know about some dessert, and you need to try an egg tart. Food in Hong Kong is super affordable for the most part. Go to the smaller restaurants. Go to street food stalls. Try the dim sum and have some milk tea. I only got to spend one night in Hong Kong, but if I ever go back, I'm probably going to eat everything I see. And even at night, there's a very vibrant foodie scene here. Hong Kong is really amazing, and eating here was a lot of fun for me. It was also super budget friendly. So order whatever you want and just dig right in. A place to eat in Hong Kong that's not so affordable is McDonald's. You are going to see McDonald's everywhere here. And actually, that's a useful travel tip I could share. If you need a restroom at night in Hong Kong, you're probably less than 10 minutes away from a McDonald's, no matter where you are in the city. They are everywhere and they are open all night. And they're a nice, familiar sight that's a little bit more comfortable if you're in a very far away place. You know, it's nice to see a McDonald's. It feels like home. However, it's a little different. I ended up grabbing a breakfast sandwich at McDonald's before my plane took off from Hong Kong, and it was not what I expected. I don't know if they just don't have biscuits anywhere in Hong Kong or what, but you definitely can't get a biscuit sandwich of any kind at McDonald's. I was served an egg and cheese sandwich on a regular hamburger bun, and I mean sesame seeds and all. That was a little weird for me, but it tasted okay, and I needed to eat, so it is what it is. Though I will say the McDonald's was the most expensive thing I ate in Hong Kong. I only got to try a little of the food here, but I tried to taste the most popular and famous dishes while I was here, and I'm really glad I did. The food here is amazing, it's very budget friendly, and it's absolutely worth coming to Hong Kong just to eat. But there is a lot more to do here, even at night. So subscribe to the channel and join me in my next video because our night in Hong Kong is not over. You know, we can't leave the city until we find the party. So come back for the next video because we're going to get a much better look at nightlife in Hong Kong. For now, thank you for watching and thank you for taking the journey with me. Now, Voyager, sail forth to seek and find.